Happy Halloween, everybody. Gather around, as it's time to tell a story, the story of Devlog 15. This story tells the tale of Project 2, a dark fantasy VR game being made here at Alta. If we cast our minds back in time to 2023, the game looked quite different. These are some initial prototypes and concepts from exactly a year ago. While these devlogs only started earlier this year, we do have some of this earlier footage to let you all have a glimpse at, and I hope it goes to show just how far we've come in a year of development. But for today's devlog, let's hop in with a brand new update on skeletal archers. Now, in the past, I've showcased these archers to you all in devlogs, but it has been a little while now and they haven't appeared much lately. That's because the combat team took them out of the main dungeon environment to work on them separately, but now they're back in, and they are a force to be reckoned with. But before we dive into a dungeon and take a closer look at them, we are here in a dev environment just checking them out. These skeletal archers can fire arrows at you and can be devastating if you're caught off guard, especially when you look down and see the arrows lodged in your body and you're not quite sure where you're being shot from. But if you carry a shield, you can also block these arrows, which will get stuck in your shield. But these archers also have a new ability, a devastating one. They can draw back their bow, and a glint on the arrow shines as they unleash a barrage of multiple arrows at their target. This can make moving through open areas really dangerous, so you'll want to use cover, things like barrels and pillars, to really dodge and make moves once they're recovering from firing their barrage. And here we are in the dungeon, and these skeletal archers really change up the flow of combat in rooms with ranged sightlines. So much so, it makes me want to carry a shield more often again, which I'm not going to complain about. As always, more on these archers and ranged combat in general later in future devlogs, but I just wanted to showcase the updated version of these skeletal archers in this week's devlog so you can get a glimpse at the awesome work that the combat team have been doing. A lot of this stuff will still be tweaked and updated in the future, but I think it's really cool for you all to see it now. And while we're here in the dungeon environment, I just talked about shields and you saw the shield with the arrows in. This is a brand new shield model, just like we recently showed off the brand new sword model. This is the updated shield, which I think looks great. And we also have an updated torch. Now, the torch model itself looks way better now. It fits the environment and the art style much better, in my opinion. And the flame effect on the top, you can see, is now going through some changes. This will evolve and change in the future too. This is sort of the intermediary new flame effect, but we've got some really cool new VFX in general being worked on right now, including flames. And you saw a little bit of a glimpse of that at the very beginning of the devlog with the flames, with all of us gathered around with the pumpkin heads on. So that was very much a tease of sort of where the flames are going in the direction. But the one you see here on the torch is kind of that intermediary new flame. And we all hope you like the direction it's going, because we're all really happy with it. And as we're sticking around the dungeon for a little longer, let me show you another new space that was recently added. Called the Prison, this area is a larger, multi-tiered space with archers taking shots at you from above and melee enemies closing in on you no matter where you are. There's tons of places to explore through broken walls, floors, and doors, and a lot of the action in this room takes place around this central area lit from above. But there is also a dark secret to this place. If we take our torch out to light the way and jump into this central pit, we can see a rocky path leading deeper underground. What secrets lay hidden beneath the prison? Well, maybe we'll save that for a future video. Next, I wanted to talk a little bit about looting and consumables. In previous devlogs, you would have seen me picking up gems and chalices from around the dungeon, which is all still there, but you can also find 3 types of consumable or throwable items too. First is the taco. Of course, this isn't very dark fantasy, it's just a temporary model that we're using right now, but you can pick these up, put them in your inventory for later use, or you can just hold it straight up to your head and take a bite to regain some health. Of course, like I said, in the future, it's not going to be tacos. It's just sort of a funny thing we have right now. Next up, we have bombs, which are these red apple-looking spheres, which again is just a temporary model, but is very much the initial implementation of throwable weapons. I can grab one of these, take aim, and throw it out, and it will create a blast wave on impact. These can affect players too, so it can be pretty useful to disengage or disorientate others in PvP, or to just mess around with your friends. One other really cool thing is that you can put these consumables in one of 3 quick access slots. You hold down a button on your controller and these appear in front of you. You can then grab an item out of these and quickly use it. This applies for the tacos I just showed, the bombs, and a third item here, which is a trap. So these are our player throwable traps or player placeable traps, and currently using this temporary bear trap model. But as you throw these out, they expand into a larger form and activate as traps in the environment that damage the skeletons or other players. In the future, maybe they'll lock you in place, or you can trap an enemy in a spot for a certain amount of time just so you can run away. And there we go, I hope you enjoyed those updates. But before I close out this devlog, I wanted to revisit the social space that we first showed off in the last devlog. It has had a little bit of a Halloween overhaul, and you probably noticed at the start of the devlog, we all have pumpkin helmets too, which is helping us all here get in the Halloween spirit. There's a couple of things I wanted to follow up on from the last devlog about the social space. So let's start with the player house/tent space. This will work as a personal space for you and is currently instanced to only you. I actually noticed that Joel answered this question on Discord, and he added that he likes the idea of being able to display trophies or organize this space and letting the player choose things like, I'll keep my axes on this wall, my shield's over here, my sword's over there, and also mentioned the idea of players being able to show each other their rooms and invite them in, which all sounds fantastic. And of course, I mentioned in the last devlog, this whole space is very much temporary blockout space right now, untextured. So you might have to use your imagination just a little bit of what these rooms and spaces could look like, but I think just as a concept, those ideas sound fantastic. I also mentioned that this social space in general was built with the plan in mind for developers to be able to develop features just like that. Cool ways to display and sort your loot, immersive ways to interact with merchants, to sell and trade, and of course lots of ways to socialize with friends and strangers, such as testing out weapons and duels against other players here. All of that and much, much more, I'm sure, in future devlogs. And in the future, throughout the year, you might see this space getting redecorated a little, just like right now we have pumpkins, but maybe we'll have other things for special events. I can't wait to show you all more features in the social space as they develop in the future. And there we go, that is the story of Devlog 15. Let us know down below what your favourite part from this devlog was, and stick around for more devlogs coming very soon as we take a look at things like ranged player weapons and environmental traps in the dungeon. And if you want to see those features and more in future devlogs, remember to subscribe and like this video so you can keep up to date with all things Project 2 going forward. We also have a Discord server for Project 2. You can join via the link on the screen or click the link in the description. And if you're carving any pumpkins yourselves this Halloween, drop some photos of them in the Discord. We'd love to see your spooky creations, while also discussing the development of Project 2 with others, of course. But as always, thank you all so much for watching this week's devlog for Project 2. Have a great Halloween, and see you all in the next one.